Welcome back, everybody. We are here. Okay, that's not right. Janelle, I don't know what I thought I was going to say, but it wasn't that. It's just everybody,
I am dead.
welcome back to another episode of Whiskey Sour and Libations and Conversations. It's your girl Dom, and this beautiful face that you see if you are watching, and this lovely voice that you are about to hear is my sister, my big sister, Janelle Loving. She has been on the show several times where we have spoken about so many different things. I shut your mouth.
I didn't say a word.
I guess I'm not fully awake from my nap, but Janelle, how are you?
Um, I am well. I just got back from the gym, so I had to make a mad dash to look presentable. Um,
We received that, and we appreciate that.
yeah, after this, can't wait to hop in the shower. But I feel like I accomplished a myriad of things today, so I'm good. I'm good.
Just know it doesn't look like you just came from the gym, so that you look amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I bring you here because we have an affinity for a special doll. And recently there was a documentary um, regarding this doll on Netflix, more particularly the black version of this doll. And I am so excited because I've wanted to have this type of episode for a while with you prior to this ever coming out, so people are aware of my obsession. I'm gonna say our.
I feel like you are slightly more so than I, considering that you have been quoted with saying Barbie's is my life. I have never said that. So I will give you, you might be obsessed. I am a fan, a fanatic.
Cute, cute,
Okay. Okay. I don't know
cute.
which one is worse, but you worse than me, whatever that word is.
Okay, so y'all, clearly we are about to talk about the Black Barbie doll and just a little bit of Barbie in general. And I just want to give y'all a little insight to how Barbie was in our household growing up. This is simply called Black Barbie, more than just a doll. Oh, okay. I don't have no preview or nothing set up, but we both were waiting on the edge of our seats and anticipating this documentary that dropped back in June on Netflix. And so I kind of want to talk to you a little bit about it, and how the black Barbie doll came into play and different variations of. Oh, we just call it Barbie. So when we
Yeah.
played with Barbies, Ken is Barbie, Steve is Barbie, Shani is Barbie. So the first iteration of the black doll and how that came to be. So let's start there.
Okay, well, I watched it when it first dropped, so I cannot say that I remember all of the tidbits. Um, Not gonna
Also,
lie,
I
but
don't remember last week. I just want to be clear with you
yeah,
guys.
I don't remember earlier today. So, that's just it. So as far as like dates and timelines and all of that stuff goes,
All of that.
um, I don't recall. However, I will say I really liked the way that they set it up. So it was a girl whose grandmother, auntie, somebody in her life
Mhm.
worked for Mattel. And so she just kind of like was interviewing her. So she's kind of like structuring this film through the gaze of her aunt
Mhm.
or this female figure in her life. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Because like the girl who's doing the documentary is not really into Barbie. It's like it's not her jam. And so, and I feel like this girl is queer.
Yes.
Um Not that that means anything, but I also just feel like it just kind of just gives you an insight into like her maybe approach to a doll that, and I feel like, and when I say queer too, I feel like she is more of a kind of like a stud, more masculine presenting. So I can see why a figure that is so feminine is not something that she was necessarily like interested in, even as a kid growing up, like if that's who you are. So I get that. But I thought it was really interesting to like look at it through the lens of this woman who was more so behind the scenes. It wasn't like she was like the creator of Barbie, but she worked more so like in like the factory warehouse, that kind of aspect of the production. And so thinking about the fact that she's in this space helping assemble this product that is not really catered towards you. You know what I mean? Like you are sitting here making this doll and this, however, whatever her role is, you're seeing this thing get put together and this thing is not necessarily representative of you. And I will say at this time, there were black dolls or black Barbie dolls, but they weren't Barbie. So like Barbie had her friends, whatever the fuck their names were.
Well, at that point, they didn't even have that. Like it was her, the black woman that was working on the assembly line. That Ruth Handler was coming around talking to the people, and she was like, "What about a black doll?" And
Right.
yeah, and then they put it into play. But like you said, it wasn't Barbie. It
Exactly.
was Steve.
And I and I
That
think and I think a lot of people don't really realize that too. It's like Barbie, not only is a Barbie more like the brand name, but it's just like also like the name of the doll. So it's like I think a lot of people misconstrue, and I can't say like previous generations because I'm sure, especially when this, the actual Black Barbie dropped, it is a huge deal. But I feel like at the time when we were playing Barbies, I don't think we were necessarily thinking about, oh, her name is different. Like, this is a Barbie doll. The package might say Teresa, but I wasn't thinking about it being like, this is Barbie's friend.
yeah,
And I really wasn't thinking about the magnitude of what it represents for the black doll to be a Barbie as well.
yeah,
So, and be named Barbie and what that represents. So to like think about it in that way, because I feel like for me, not just, this is not the first Barbie documentary. There was another one that they had a few years back, and it was more so Barbie as a holistic brand versus focusing on just the races of Barbie and the diversity of Barbie. Um, and I just feel like it was never that deep to me.
we
And
gonna
again,
get there. We're gonna
okay,
get there.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
I'm getting ahead of myself.
yeah,
So, and so, yeah, so it went from here are the introduction of like these black dolls that are friends of Barbie to here is the Black Barbie. And
right.
not only having the Black Barbie, but then having a Black woman who is also brought in to create the Black Barbie.
Yeah,
So I think that's also something to be said as well, because I feel like a lot of times, especially at that, during that era, Black people weren't necessarily like held at the top of these huge companies in this way, or brought in as consultants. I mean, we still complain to this day about like, where are the Black people in the room? So the fact that they did take the time and bring this Black woman in to develop this doll, I think is definitely powerful as well. um I don't want to say too many things. I feel like we're gonna go down the line. So
that's such a great start. Seeing kind of how the Black Barbie came into fruition. From somebody from the line whose voice that Ruth Handler, guys, is the creator of Barbie, and really took that and went with that, and from there, even promoting the worker off the black woman off the line, who is the narrator's aunt. and she becomes like the executive assistant, like the secretary or whatever, that you come in when you come to Mattel. Which, sidebar, I have applied for a job at Mattel several times, entry level. Ain't never got a call back, but it's cool. Uh,
I mean, I applied to make dollhouses. I still look. I do still look.
we're gonna have to roll up in there on the next trip. You come out
Okay.
here and visit. That we
Just
gonna put
knock
that
down
on.
the door and say, "Give me a job."
Yeah, like,
So
look, Barbie's is my life. uh, but no, I think that I agree with you, and just seeing the evolution of this doll, because, to be honest, when we were playing with Barbies, I don't even think that it ever crossed my mind that this doll never did exist, at one point. And so to even see that, and you're like, wow, how impactful this doll is, like you said. And also thinking about how mom only got us really black Barbies, or the Barbies of color. If it was, like, it took us a while to get like a other doll, like a white doll. But
yeah,
never.
and I think it is not to say that we did not have them. I feel like we definitely had a smattering of diverse dolls. And I think it's just a matter of like maybe even what was available for her
Yeah.
to purchase. So I feel like there was definitely a mixture, but I will say there were the two dolls which they did show in the documentary. I think you said the Shawnee doll.
Mhm.
I do remember getting those dolls for Christmas.
Yes.
And there's two dolls, and I feel like mom consciously, subconsciously got you the darker skin doll, and I got like the fairer skin doll. I think she was like, "Oh, Nelly yellow, give her the yellow doll." Dominica's chocolate, give her the chocolate
Listen,
doll.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even know that was a thing, because I just thought we got them as a group, because they wasn't.
No, but the thing is, I remember mom making such a big deal about it because we both wanted the chocolate doll. And I think it meant something different for her than it did for us. For me, I think for us, it was like she was prettier.
Yeah,
Like, I think whatever her outfit was more dynamic,
yeah,
and it could have been just like the contrast of her skin with like the kind of like copper tone dress that she had on.
yeah.
Her makeup was really
Girl, why am I getting
pretty.
emotional?
And so it was like, for
Yeah,
I never really looked at it like that. I was just
yeah,
thinking, I just want the prettier doll. But I can see if, and again, I realize I'm speaking from a place of privilege, so to speak, being lighter skinned, black. But I can see, mom growing up, especially when she would say they call her black baby or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
And then to see your kids, two different ends of the spectrum, and being told all your life that your black is not beautiful, and now you're seeing the next generation arguing because it's like the prettier doll is the darker doll.
yeah,
Then they do like that doll test
yep,
that they've been doing however long, and it's like which is the good doll, which is the bad kid, and it's always like the dark was the bad, the light was the good. And so we're just like, the fact that we both are like, no, I want the dark doll, I think was very moving for her. I don't think I really understood the big deal until we were older.
yeah,
And I will say too, I feel like mom did do a pretty good job as to like the way that she was really explaining colorism to us growing
yeah,
up. And I think she explained it in a way where I feel like both of us, I don't know, could be seen in a way, or basically like don't trip off. Not so much don't trip off of it. It's like this is the thing that exists.
yeah,
Because I remember mom saying, it's going to be people who are not going to like you because of your color. And she was like, there are people, and she would tell you there are people who are not going to like you because of your hair, because you had like this long flowy hair. Um, and she just never really played into that. So it's like
I
when it
thought
happens
people
to
were more
me, I
different.
hate. What'd you say?
So my conversation went a little different. I vividly
And
remember.
possibly so.
Yeah, and which is fair and fine because you got to talk to your kids differently. We're not the same personality, or
Yeah.
so you are catering to your child's needs, like you said. Our colorism conversation was just more like it was it started with the your hair, you tall, you're thin, and then when it got to the color part, it was like people, because you kind of fall in the middle of the spectrum, you can kind of hang with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but then there'll be people that might not look like you, that might be a little darker, that might have an issue, might be a lighter girl that might have an issue. And then she was like, men could say this to you, and you just kind of got to let it, she loves to say, roll off your back, because
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't take away pretty much anything from you. And you are one of the things I think I love most about mom. I love a lot of things about mom. I'm gonna send her this clip. Uh, it came out weird, mom. I'm sorry. But one, I think my favorite things was that, and I thought that that was a normal part of every black girl's upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I moved to LA, and I, making new friends, and some girls having kind of like a hard time adjusting to LA, because LA is a melting pot, and we know that, especially when it comes to dating, how chaotic and difficult it would be. And so we were talking about self-esteem and things like that, and colorism. I was like, girl, I ain't tripping off these people, blah blah blah. This is what my mom said to me growing up, and it's like, your mama said what?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, your mama didn't talk to you about that? Girl, no, I'm figuring it out on my own, and we are grown now. So in a way, I kind of had a leg up, but just never. I just thought it was just a normal conversation. I didn't think it was
Yeah.
anything.
And I think too, I think on the reverse, I feel like, and this is going to sound weird. I think mom would kind of tell me like, you're not special because of your skin
Yes,
color. And
yes,
so, because she would tell me, tell us stories about, our aunt and how a lot of times men in particular will feel like you are supposed to be something more
hmm,
because of just how your physical body presents, because you
yes,
are fair skinned. So then when they get up on you, they realize, oh, you
hmm,
just like all the other black girls. And
hmm,
then they feel duped in a way,
hmm,
or, and so they like take that out on you. And so she was like, a lot of people, particularly our aunt, just got messed over by men a lot because of the perception of what they thought was special when really it didn't mean shit. And
yeah,
so for me, I just never really played into that. Like I just never really saw myself that way. I feel like I have like in my mind, I'm like a chocolate girl in reality. And when people be like, it shocks me when I see how pale I am, I'm like, is this really me? Ugh. Like
yeah.
it's
Because I've been looking at your feet. I'm like, girl, them toes need some sun.
okay.
I love
So, but back to
it.
the
Yeah,
Barbie. So
yeah,
I think for us, because we luckily at that, grew up in a time where there was more representation comparative to like what our parents experienced, I think it was definitely a time, like a good step forward in
yeah,
how, Mattel really took the time to create this doll and what it meant for a lot of women at that time. Like, I can't imagine feeling like I am not seen.
yeah,
And I think, and not to say that, us, our upbringing and stuff, as far as like the media is concerned, is perfect for sure. Like,
yeah.
it's a lot of white shit. I love Friends. Like, ain't nary a black in sight. Um, I could probably name most of the black. Come to think of it, as far as like black men, I don't even think black men have really even had a story arc on Friends at all.
Nope.
Whereas Black women, I remember Aisha Tyler was on a few episodes. Gabrielle Union, I think, was on one episode.
Yeah.
And that's all I got. I'm gonna give you a third just to say, but you know, I think it's definitely, something to be said about hell, Gilmore Girls again. Ain't no black folks on Gilmore Girls, but I love that shit. But I feel like at the same time, we grew up during, like the height of like the 90s television. So you had Martin, you had Living Single, you had
Yep.
Wayans Brothers, so we had a lot of shows that were representative of the black experience. So I
Yes.
didn't necessarily feel like where am I in these other shows because we had them.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
I think I don't know. I don't know. I think overall the documentary was very good, very insightful. It was very nostalgic. Because I'm sitting here watching it, thinking about like, oh, we had that. Like when we went to the Barbie Museum, was that last year? That was last year. Like it was kind of like that same feeling, like walking through those exhibits and being able to see like we had that doll, we had that house, and also realizing we were very much spoiled.
We were spoiled rotten, Janelle. Oh my God. I just before we get into how spoiled we were, I just want to say it was really dope for them to, for one, for Kitty Black, who is the designer of the actual Black Barbie, to be alive, to be able to come. And she's only like 70 something and doesn't look a day over 50, to be honest. Um, to come in and be able to voice why she designed the doll that she did, why she dressed it this way, why her hair was this way, why her
Hmm.
makeup was like this and that. And so I thought that was really iconic and dope for her to be able to like speak to that doll, and then talking about, like the shiny doll, which was able to branch off, and then even Mattel pouring back into the black community, because from that, another black doll was able to be, which wasn't under the Mattel umbrella, but was able to be created
Hmm.
because of this alone. And so I just think that it was just so impactful, and just, I ain't gonna
And,
cry.
and don't cry,
But
but also not so much. And then the image of the doll itself, I
yeah,
think, is very important to
yeah, her
discuss
lips being
because
full.
I feel like, huh?
I said, yeah, with her lips being fuller, her nose being
Yeah,
fuller.
and but not, it's like yes, it had the doll had, some tradition or typical um Afrocentric features, but I think they really went full on, like there is no denying that this doll is a black doll because
Mhm.
they easily could have come out with kind of like a middle of the road doll, like, kind of transition. It's like this doll is more palatable. It could have had the big wavy,
Yeah,
hair. It could have been fairer skin. So I think the fact that she made a conscious choice to say, like, this doll has a fro, this doll is chocolate. It's like it's very much one very indicative of the time period that this doll was created. I think it was like the 60s. So you think about like the Supremes and Motown and like the way that they were kind of presenting, even thinking about like Foxy Brown, it's like I think there
with
were was Foxy Brown at that.
well, no, the Black Barbie came into play. That had the name. It was in the early '80s.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, girl, because it was
Okay.
coming off the heels of disco era. So
Okay,
that's why
and
when she
that's
was
okay,
speaking
and that's
about,
what, and that's where I'm getting
yeah,
Foxy Brown from. I'm like,
yes,
something ain't adding up.
girl, no, it was like 1980, 1980, maybe 81. And so when she was speaking about like her outfit, she was like, the typical Barbie gown, dress is like really full. We don't dress like that.
Hmm.
Like it's more form fitting. It just shows off more of our shape, and that's why she picked red. Against the dark skin, all those different things. So yes,
So yeah, well, my bad on the time period. I don't know what I was thinking, and you know, it don't make sense because like the Barbie itself, wasn't it like 19?
You did the report.
I know, girl, that was in fourth grade or fifth grade. I don't remember. For whatever reason, 1954 is like standing out in my
Okay,
mind, but that also does not make sense. So I should have just like did a quick Wikipedia like
I got you.
search before, but it's all good. But no, I like I said, I think well that even proves
Janelle, you are close. 59.
okay,
March 959.
okay. So I feel like too, even at that period, you know, you're coming into that like black power, black, you know, I'm black and I'm proud kind of movement as well. So, you know, I think it's definitely not lost on me that the way that this doll is represented makes that statement. And I think it was a very powerful statement because, like I said, you know, we have a lot of, especially in today's media, where there are a lot of these racially ambiguous people that, you know, that we see, characters that we see on television. And so it is always refreshing when it's like, this person is black. Like, there's no mistaking it. It's not about like black people exist. And so this idea of trying to make people feel more palatable to the masses, it's like there are more people of color combined than there are white people.
Yeah.
So it's like to be able to see melanated skin is like this is what we see in the world. So and like let's stop making it seem like we are this, you know, everybody is just like, oh, it could be this, they could be that. You just have like a person of color. No, they're black. You
Yeah.
know, so yeah, I don't know. I think I feel like I'm just going off on a tangent because it's so many different things and you know, and ideas and just thoughts and like you know, also being able to see like all the people that they've interviewed and to like live their experience. You
Hmm.
know, again, for me, I we were children. So for me, it's like no different than I was talking about like those other that other documentary. Some shit ain't that deep.
I
And for me as a child, it was like we were playing with dolls and we just had a good old time. I mean, it was a long time before our mom even got us a Ken doll. So we would designate one of the Barbies, you are the man today. That's just what it was. Like we were just using our imagination and having a good time. So it didn't, you know, we wasn't thinking about, oh, well, here's this trans man doll, like, and what assigning a gender to, you know, a doll. It was just an inanimate object. And we needed a man. We didn't have a man. So you're the man today. And we just kept playing in that way. What?
I was like, well, you say it like that. No, but I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think it's so interesting to see and hear everybody's perspective, how one thing, how you can look at one thing and how everybody can think something different, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, because I remember I had friends growing up that I don't think it was that they couldn't play with Barbies, but it was almost like they couldn't play with Barbies.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was shocking to me. I was like, it's a toy. But it was similar to how, we have friends. I remember Sylvia being shocked that we were able to watch The Simpsons. And I was like, well, we're on cable, so
Because I think a lot of times parents, adults, obviously impose their views and thoughts onto their children. And
yeah.
so, you know, I was even having this conversation the other day. Because we were watching Chipmunk Great Adventure and the innuendos, you know, that whole song, Get Lucky with You, you know, like that was hella inappropriate. But I think when we were a kid, getting lucky, getting lucky. That's what it's really all about. Yeah,
I
girl.
never.
But
I
again,
thought they were talking about the treasure.
girl, if you remove that song from the context of that film, it is clearly talking about sex.
Oh wow.
Darling, you a sweet thing. Honey, I love you with my heart and soul. Won't you take me where I gotta go? Give me
Oh
a
my
clue.
God. Okay.
Tell
Okay.
me what I need to do to get lucky with you.
Sheesh.
So I say that to say a lot of times, these are things that will go over children's heads. Like,
Yeah.
you would not be paying attention to that at all. But as you become an adult and you become, more of the world, you realize these things, like, oh, and now you're saying, oh no, I'm not going to let my kids see this, where your children aren't even thinking about that.
Yeah.
Like, so I think, again, a lot of people, like that previous documentary, and theirs was, again, more of a feminist standpoint than like a racial standpoint. People felt like Barbie was this bad example, or this very unrealistic standard of beauty. Where, to me, I'm just thinking, one, it's a doll, so it's fake. It's like watching a cartoon. But I mean, Barbie got is everything. Like, to me, Barbie is a doctor. Barbie is a
That's
scuba
how I feel about
instructor.
it.
Barbie is a vet. Barbie is a firefighter. Barbie is a mother. Like, she has so many titles and roles. Like, Barbie had more jobs than
Well,
Kiki
Barbie
Palmer.
was never a
So
mother.
to
She was a big sister. That was Midge.
Okay,
Yeah, Midge. Midge was the mother. But
okay.
that's how I also looked at Barbie, Janelle. I felt like Barbie is the prime example of being able to reinvent yourself and try so many different areas and avenues of life where we are consistently told that we can only do one thing and be one
Mhm,
thing. And so I looked at Barbie just like, okay, well, today I want to do this, today I want to do that. Oh, I could have a dream house. I could have a nice pink car. I
mhm,
did at one point want a pink convertible. That's doing too much. I'll settle for a red. Which she had the red stretch Mustang that we put
mhm.
Jennifer in. Uh, but
But I will say, though, it's very interesting when you think about the dichotomy of these two documentaries,
mhm,
because whereas one was more so steeped in feminism, which is usually through the white woman's gaze, this one more so about the black woman and her experience. And
mhm.
so I find it interesting that that conversation really didn't come up in that documentary, because we were more so focused on the fact that we did not have representation at all,
Yeah,
versus being represented in a way that you felt like was unrealistic. So it's
yeah,
like, well, in your version, we don't even exist.
yeah. Because
Whereas,
I think,
so I feel like it's just an interesting commentary on how we think about feminism in like real life, and how that plays out, and how that transcends politics and just like your lived experience, all the way down to a toy. So, and the fact that we have this, like these controversial conversations about Barbie,
yeah,
like, it's a toy,
that's how I
but
felt. And even I'll say this, because even in the Hulu doc, I think it was Hulu,
yeah, it was Hulu.
because they had Roxanne Gay, who is a black feminist. She is a queer, fuller, woman, and like she's definitely presents a little more mass. I'm not gonna put that all on her. But and then even in this one, the Netflix doc about the black doll, you have Gabby Sidibe,
Hmm.
who also kind of shares similar sentiments, like this doll never looked like me, like how I am shaped, how I'm this way. And then you have it's just so interesting because all of our toys, like I never thought about it from that perspective because again, I think also, to be fair, like you said, by the time we were playing with toys, but Gabby's also our age. We saw so much of us on TV represented. Like I'm thinking about, I remember like the one of the main reasons that I wanted to get into modeling, there was a Pepsi ad where it is like the big, it's like Tyra Banks, Linda Evangelista, and I think Cindy Crawford, like they're in this Pepsi ad and they're like at a hospital and the baby is born and they're drinking
Hmm.
Pepsi. And I was like, oh, that's such a cool job to have.
I
But,
think,
uh-huh,
sorry to interrupt, but you said a couple of things. So, in particular to Gabby Sidibe, I think we have to also acknowledge the fact that we do have a particular privilege um, in our lived experience. So there are going to be things that we are blind to
yeah,
because we don't experience those things.
okay,
So for like her, she was always a big girl. And so we ain't never, like we are probably currently the largest we have ever been in our lives. And right now. So, that is an experience that we never had. So it wasn't something that we had to think about. Um, I remember even having this conversation last summer, um, talking about like different like brands and stuff, and how a lot of fashion brands and like stores have like rebranded in a way. One in particular being like Abercrombie. And
Abercrombie. I'm like, whoever.
like the Abercrombie that exists now ain't nothing like the Abercrombie that we had in high school. It did a complete 180.
Yep.
And to me, I'm like, oh, I love it. I feel um like the style. I like the way it just feels more inclusive. And somebody basically checked me. It was like, bitch, it's not. They don't make a size above like a XL. And I was like, oh, I didn't think about it from that point. You know what I mean? Like I'm thinking about it from like the way that they marketed. Like it
Hmm.
feels very diverse now. Still very much white, but more sprinkles of other people
Hmm.
pop up. But it feels a little bit more less of that kind of like frat boy kind of vibe that it was
Yes.
giving, that all American. And I just didn't think about it from the sizes that they provide. And I think it does have, and I can't say it's just an XL. I think they do provide larger sizes, but I don't know how large. You know what I mean? I think when you start getting into plus size, there is still a good portion of demographic of sizes that aren't represented.
Yeah.
And because I don't click, that's like I'm not looking for, ooh, does this come in a 24? I That's not my experience. So I
Right.
can't say whether you're being inclusive or not. And inclusivity goes beyond just race, it's gender, it's size. It can mean a myriad of things, which as we know, especially after like the Hulu documentary, that was very much a marketing tool for them to promote the fact that they have like rebranded Barbie to be more inclusive. Like now you have different body shapes, you have different heights. And I mean the larger body still, the thicker Barbie still is not that thick, but it's clearly thicker
It
than
was a period where there were, and I feel like they probably don't make them as much because people probably wasn't buying them
I feel like
because
they've always been kind of hard to find. And again,
yeah,
I'm not searching for Barbies. I feel like the two Barbies I have, oddly enough, one of them is in this corner
the
here.
Barbies you got, I got you.
That's what I'm about to say. I'm like the Barbies that I have, you purchased for me, so I can't say that I've been looking for Barbies. Um, I feel like you could probably order them online and have more options. Um, but yeah, but again, they got Barbies with baby hair, so I was like, okay, they
Barbies
have
with
Barbie
short
with
hair.
vitiligo. So I feel like now, I think not too long ago, they have a Barbie with Down syndrome.
Mhm.
So I think they have done to me, a really good job of being inclusive and representing more people um, than they ever have. I
Yeah.
mean, I remember it being a big deal. I don't know if you remember this, where that they recalled one of their, or they got a lot of flack because I think it was that dollhouse, that Barbie dream house that had the motorized elevator. The door was not ADA accessible. Like
Yeah.
at that time they did have like a wheelchair Barbie. I think it had like just come out like around the same time, and that Barbie could not roll the chair through the door. Again, had they hired me, I would have known, But I think those things are just, things they have to think about. And I think over the
Yeah.
years, nobody's
And
going to get it
probably
right
didn't
the
even
first
think about
time.
it because of the opening in the back. Like, I'm gonna be honest, not to give them an excuse. I ain't never used that door on that house
But
ever.
that's the thing. But that's
Yeah.
also how we have to think about just
Yeah.
accessibility in general. Like just being a
Yeah.
designer, you do have to think about the fact that, sometimes you have to think about how people are going to use the space, whether they use it in that way or not.
Or not.
You
Yeah.
have to make sure it is designed to meet everybody's needs. Um, even if they never, even if they never hire somebody who needs it, the one time somebody comes through that space and it's not accessible to them, you got a lawsuit. So it's the same thing. Whereas, 80% of the kids, just like you, are not going to walk a doll through that door. But the other 20% that just so happen to do it, you got a lawsuit. So, um,
Because I think even on the balcony, like I think I was just so used to hopping Barbie around anyway. So I just was doing my normal.
and that's what people do. I mean, they even talked about that in the movie. Like the opening scene where she was getting ready. It's like they specifically said, like, you don't go down the stairs. You just move her where you need to be. Like, and it wasn't your imagination. You filled in the blanks in your head. Like it it was just a whole thing. But no, I think in general, I think it was really great. I think it was also very insightful. I think it was interesting, like I said, the girl who, the niece, who now has this better understanding of what her role in history with this doll, the significance of this doll. And, I think at the end of the day, it's all about educating yourself and coming out of something different than, having a different perspective than when you went into it.
Yeah.
So I think for her, not necessarily knowing what to expect for sure, but I think she did come out with more respect for Barbie and what Barbie represented versus what she just, on the outside looking in, assumed. I think ultimately we have a lot more in common with this doll as far as people's lived experiences than people, I think, really realize, just because you're just looking at it like, oh, this is this pretty little thing. But in
Hmm.
reality, when you think about all of the workings that went behind just even creating the doll in the beginning, like they said, it wasn't a doll that was representative of womanhood. A lot of dolls, and I even remember how Granny used to always talk about how she got that baby doll that had that painted hair and she hated it and threw it in the fireplace. Um, but it was always baby dolls. Like we were always conditioned to be mothers and nurturers as women.
Yep.
And from you were a baby pushing a baby. So the fact that it is a doll that exists that allows you to explore the maturity that comes with growing up,
Hmm.
and being able to envision yourself beyond. And again, there is nothing wrong with being a mother. Like, obviously, that is one of the most important jobs for sure. But everybody can't be a mother. Everybody doesn't desire to be a mother. So what else is out there? And I think this gives you the opportunity to see what else you could possibly be.
Yeah. And I think the coolest thing is, there was kind of a turning point where there was like a slight slump in Barbie, and then in the recent years, within the last 10 years, their whole rebranding, and you see the commercial where the kids, like you had a kid walking into a lecture hall being the teacher, you had a kid walking into like the veterinarian office being the vet, and but they're met with adults, and so they're confused, but it's just this kid. And it's really just their imagination. Girl, that commercial made me cry. It was the coolest, cutest thing.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Oh, baby, you gonna cry. I know if I cry, you gonna cry, and you cry, because there's a shift in the cry.
Oh,
But,
okay.
but no, it was the cutest thing, and it was just like pretty much I could be whatever I want to be,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how like I said, I stated earlier, I always looked at Barbie like that, like, hey, I can try this, I can try that,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of the day, I'm gonna get my dream house. So right now, I'm in that stage of trying different things because I'm gonna get my dream house and have central air with a nice
Okay.
convertible. Listen, Barbie keeps my imagination alive, and I'm forever grateful for that. To be honest, because I feel like as adults, we reach a certain point where we feel like that we no longer have that anymore.
Oh, for sure.
And
And I
and
mean,
and so for me, and then so at least for me, just seeing things and even following that page, like, keeps my imagination going and pushing me to strive to like follow my dreams, and that's like the
mhm.
cool thing. And I love when we send little man, did you see this post? Did you see that? Like, now why they do this? Or why, like, I think that's like the coolest thing, and it's like a special bond that we okay. It's a
It's gonna be
special bond that we share, and I love
yes,
that.
yes. I definitely agree. Um, I feel like too with that, the whole creativity, I think subconsciously, even the exploration that we had with Barbie and the creativity that we had, I think that really kind of formed what I do now as an
Yeah,
adult, like in my career. Like just thinking about how we had, a Barbie folding fun house. Like we rarely ever played with like the houses and stuff in the way that they were intended. We were
yeah,
always like breaking them apart, mixing and matching. I remember at one point we had this playroom, like my mom had transformed her dining room into like our toy room, our playroom. And we had like a whole little, like, we turned a bookshelf into an apartment complex. Like each floor was a different level, a different
yeah.
condo or apartment. I remember, hell, we had the projects where it was, we took like the dining chairs for our little like kid sized dining room set. Under the chair was the carport. That was where you parked your car. And then like the seat was like this studio apartment. Like, and then we had the houses. I
So
mean,
you can remember this,
yeah,
but you can't remember what you ate this morning for breakfast.
girl.
Cause I don't remember. I
I
remember
still
us.
remember
I
the
remember.
tune of the nightclub.
You said what?
Like the tune that played for the nightclub. I still remember that song.
Okay, okay. That will always that and the beatbox.
What's the beatbox now?
Okay, so there was these dolls that had a beatbox, and one of the cousins left theirs at our house, and
Okay.
it was like dun 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 dun. Dun. That's how it was.
Oh, I don't remember that at
And
all.
and so yeah, somebody left their beatbox over there, and it was like it probably came with it was. I'll have to look up the doll, but I feel like it was around that MC Hammer time era, and like the guys and the girls came with like a beatbox, like a
Hmm.
just like a big old stereo, and it was silver.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we probably
I
got
don't
that.
remember that, but no, we had everything, and I still, and the fact that I know for a fact that your mama still had them, some of that stuff.
We
I
yeah,
know,
the
I
last
know
time.
that my size Barbie is still there. So let me tell you guys, when My Size Barbie came out, Dominique was probably like in third grade,
Yeah, second or third
second or
grade.
third grade. And so, and we were still at the time where they did not necessarily make still a black and white counterpart. It was like the first one might come out and it would be white, and maybe like the following year it would be black. So of course, again, we were spoiled. We got the shit when they was new, and the only option was the white one, and that's what we had.
That girl hair was so nappy when I took it out the box, and I could never get it together.
When I tell you, we still have this naked ass, 3 foot tall white doll floating around. Like, what happened? I don't know why Mama won't get rid of it. Like, she doesn't have any clothes. Like, we lost the little outfit that she came with. I remember we learned that like white girls would dye their hair with Kool-Aid, and so we was like trying to dye her hair so it was
Gosh,
slightly
her
pink
hair
with
was just a
Kool-Aid.
mess out the box, Janelle. And it was funny because I don't ever think, I think I was probably 3 feet tall in kindergarten. Because like we were tall people. So I remember being almost not twice the size, that would be, like 6 feet, but like so much taller than this
Hmm.
doll. And just was like, well, she's not my size.
Yeah,
But
but
I
she
can
was
just
still big.
go,
I mean,
yeah.
3 feet is still really tall, but even still, but it's like she has not gotten rid of that doll. So anytime we move, like it's a piece of furniture, she has like this, one of those old school like entertainment center, like consoles or cabinets is like really big, and she just throw it behind there. So it's like she never sees it until she's like about to move some furniture. But it's like, why do you still have this? Like
Girl,
you have almost had this doll for 30 years.
yeah, that doll older than Jennifer. Um, and that's wild to say aloud.
Hmm.
But
And we still have it.
the last time that I went to the house on Temple, and I feel like it might have been a Christmas or something. But you remember, okay, probably like from like a dollar store or whatever. You remember that plush furniture she got us that was really soft?
Hmm.
The chair was just sitting in the foyer, and I was just like, well, first of all, where did this come from? Two, why do you still have this? Three, where did this come from? Because I have not seen this since I stopped playing with Barbies for real.
I,
Mom, we're gonna pray for you. Just like why did okay? Why did Mama keep the bushes to that tree that we couldn't find the rod to? I missed the
I don't
star.
know.
That star was so pretty. I've been trying to find a star like that, and I cannot find the old star.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's just I don't know. It was all of it, just to kind of wrap it up, just watching the documentary, it was definitely very moving. In general, it was definitely eye-opening because again, I think, we forget sometimes how far we actually have come.
All right, Janelle must have forgot to put her phone on Do Not Disturb because this is the only way that this would happen. She must be getting a phone call. And we are back.
What I was saying was, I think it was, like I said, it was very nostalgic, but it was also nice to kind of just reflect and see how far we have actually come. I think we definitely have, as far as just society in general. I think for Barbie specifically, they have definitely, you can just see where they started to kind of like where they are now. And I think the trajectory of the brand is definitely one that should maybe even be modeled on some level, just because it is very like inclusive. And I think, again, a lot of shit is the sign of the times. And I think they have done a relatively good job in trying to stay relevant and current and making sure that they are addressing issues or complaints, or making sure that they are casting a wide net when it comes to representation. Now, as far as on the back end, though, I think that's probably where they need to work a little bit, because I want to say at the end of the documentary, they did say how I don't think,
It was one other black girl because Kitty
yeah,
hired another black girl, and I don't think she no longer works there.
I think
And
it's a white man that it's like
now that's over that.
over that division. So I think there is some, they still have some work to do, as much as I think, I applaud their efforts as far as making sure that we feel the representation. I think now there needs to be an effort to have that diversity and inclusion um, represented with real living, breathing beings and just not these dolls. So, yeah, but all in all, I think that was an excellent documentary. I might watch it again one of these days. I should have watched it before hopping on this call, but nevertheless, again, can't really. I got nothing.
Yeah, I just wanted to let people know how, like, a little more spoiled, how spoiled we were. I mean, we had Barbie everything. Like, we probably
Hmm.
had when they had if it ever comes to your city, the girlies and the guys that love Barbie, I do encourage you guys to go to the immersive experience. But we had like 6 out of them 8 Barbie doll houses, and then just like a lot of the toys, like talking about like the nightclub. Remember the Tiki Hut,
Yep.
and us, the townhouse that you could pull with the elevator, that on the string, before they had the electric elevator, though they made a version of that townhouse where the elevator was electric,
Yeah.
and it lit up, and I wanted that house so bad. I never got it. Like, I never got the Barbie minivan. BB.
But we got the that horse trailer
We had the
with the
horse
horse that
trailer.
actually can walk, although never
Well,
really
that was
did.
separate. That was
Huh?
separate.
That
Yeah,
was separate, because I think
I
the one
think
that
you got
came
that
with
for
it
your
was the
birthday
stationary.
one year.
Huh?
I thought you got that horse that could actually walk for your birthday one year.
No, I don't
Oh,
remember that.
okay.
But I
Okay.
know we had it. I don't know why we had it. But then we had like the dreamboat.
Yeah.
We had the mobile home.
See, that's why I want to be off the coast of Monaco now. Janelle laid out. This is Barbie fault.
Okay.
It's her fault. I'm like, it's the finer things in life.
So yeah, remember that lady gave you that McDonald's?
Yes. Oh my gosh. What was her name? And it
Mm.
was like a drive-through McDonald's, and I had to write her a letter, and I only wrote her a letter once. I felt like a shitty kid, but I love that McDonald's, and it was so cool, and it talked like you. Welcome to
Hmm.
McDonald's, man. Take your order.
Yeah. I think
And
we had a grocery store.
we had a grocery store. We had a beauty salon. We had a bank.
Yeah.
We had so many different things that was so cool. Yeah, we really spoke. We had a classroom. Yeah,
I don't remember that.
yeah, girl. We had a Barbie classroom. It was kind of. I think by that time, you really was kind of phasing out of Barbie. I think I
Oh.
was like in fourth or fifth grade. I played with Barbies longer than you.
Well,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, way
And I
long.
probably played with Barbies longer than I should have, because I was playing with you.
Yeah, I
But
think I finally put the Barbie dolls down like around seventh, eighth grade, because for sixth grade I got the Spice Girl dolls that Jennifer will ultimately get a hold of and ruin. And she opened the two Barbie dolls that Mom said we couldn't open, which was the Kenya
oh, the
doll.
Kenya one,
Yeah,
yeah.
with the low cut, and then it was like some dude, but they wasn't from Mateo. The black guy.
Who, Malik? But we played with Malik. No, it was another one. It was another one. It was like more Afrocentric.
Yeah,
So we definitely had a few knockoffs.
yeah,
I remember when they had that Maxi doll. So Maxi doll, she had flat feet, so
yeah,
you couldn't really.
yeah. That wasn't ours. I think that was like Dee Dee's or Breon's.
I
That
just
they
remember that doll had flat feet, and you could not. She
no,
was not compatible with Barbie at all.
at But we had the tape though. We had the tape.
Yeah, we
Dance.
had the video. We had like those cartoons, those Maxi World cartoons.
Yeah,
So
they were like in high school. Good times are happening in Maxie's world.
Yes. And I
Yeah.
still remember some of those episodes. I remember one of the girls was anorexic.
Well, I remember that.
And it's like when she turned to the side, she was just like this little thin line, and she like blew away in the wind. Um, and I remember at the very end when she decided to eat again, she like had all these burgers. Again, why I remember that, I don't know. What happened earlier today? I'm not quite sure. So long term memory is excellent. Short term is disastrous. So
Yeah, I don't know. Like I know I used to trick Dad, and I'm like, Dad, can we just go to Toys R Us? I just want to look. And I would always come out with something. Man, shout out to our parents because we really were spoiled and really safe off the street. Man, that's such a good time. But what's your favorite Barbie memory before we wrap up of us when we were playing Barbies?
I don't know. Because I feel like a lot of it just kind of like blends together.
We played a
I
lot
can't
of
say, yeah, we just played a lot. I mean, I think just the way that we just played, even thinking about when we moved next door, um, and then like the back hallway becoming our, playroom and stuff. And I don't know. I think just the time that we just shared together, even trying to play with Jennifer at some point. Jennifer really didn't get into Barbies too much because I think at that time that's when those brat dolls came around.
yeah.
So she was more into that. But yeah, I think just, shit, now I'm thinking about the cars. I'm like, we had a Jeep, we had a motorcycle, we had several
Yeah,
Corvettes.
we had like a little moped scooter thing, the little
Yeah,
pink
we
one.
had several Corvettes. Like we had the
Yep,
blue Corvette, and
yep, that
we
was
had a
like
red one, and then we had those
battery
two pink ones.
Yep. Uncle Craig had got us those pink ones. I
That makes
remember.
sense because they was cheap.
Yeah.
Because again, the blue and the red one, we had that Beetle.
Yeah.
The blue and the red one could drive on their own.
Yep.
Them pink ones, you had to push them.
We did. We did. That's
So,
so funny. We had just so much stuff. I think one of the I would hate getting in trouble, and Mama would like you really wasn't getting in trouble, but like not being able to play Barbies was hell for me. And I remember, I remember, and it wasn't a play thing, but Mom told me not to play in the living room. She had just cleaned up, and I took my car through the living room, and I hit that damn tree trunk.
mhm.
Somehow bumped it and bumped that blue Nefertiti that she had, and it shattered.
Oh no, girl, that's not how that broke. We was fighting.
No, girl, we wasn't fighting.
Are you
I'm
positive?
positive. What was we fighting about, Janelle?
I don't know, but I thought we were. Well, I know we weren't supposed to be in that room.
No, I was playing Barbies in there and I bumped it.
I thought we was like wrestling. So that it was.
No, we was wrestling, which led to a different whooping when you pushed me into Mama's popcorn wall and I called you a punk ass nigga. Yeah, Janelle, you pushed me into the popcorn wall. Oh, now you don't remember. You
I
remember
don't.
everything but that.
I don't. You probably deserved it though.
No, we was just jumping on my bed for some reason. You just pushed me.
Okay.
Yeah. And why Mom had popcorn ceiling on the wall, I don't know. We're not gonna talk about that either. But I love you, and
I
I
love you too.
appreciate you giving me an hour of your life to talk about what me.
No problem. I don't know. Girl, look, I walked 3 miles this morning, and then I still did like an hour in the gym, a little bit over an hour. So I'm just like starting to come down, and I'm hungry. I'm just having a hard time right now.
You
I love
know,
you, dude. I love you though.
please tell Janelle, please tell the people where they can find you. And y'all can
Um,
know she designs amazing things, and maybe she will design a Barbie dream house one day.
that is kind of like a goal of mine or a dream job of mine. Um, And I don't even think it was something that I even thought about as a dream job because, you just don't think about that you could do these things. But when I saw that listing and it was like, oh, design houses for Mattel, specifically the Barbie division, I was like, wait, I can do that? Let me see. I mean, I've never designed a toy, but I know all the programs. So what's the difference? Um, I ain't hear back from them, but that won't stop me from trying. But anyway, you can find me in St. Louis on Instagram at Janelle Lovings. And that's with all E's. You can see at the bottom of the screen here. That's also my Cash App. So if you feel like donating, I'm always accepting donations. That's where I live mainly is Instagram. I do have a website, JanelleLovings.com. So if you are in need of interior design services, you can definitely reach out to me there as well.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share the podcast with your family and friends. And we will see you here next week.